Good tune. Gary Barlow, Elton John, Face to Face at 2:43 on your Friday. It's on Radio Gibraltar. The weather for now.
Come rain or shine, at 2 in the afternoon, Radio Gibraltar's presenter Paul Grant takes to the airwaves and some internet bandwidth to provide listeners with, well, the Paul Grant Show. A veritable mix of chat, info and, of course, well, let Paul tell you himself.
At the moment, it's purely entertainment driven. Music is really the crux of what we do, and it's designed really to give people the English option all the way through the afternoon, which is a new innovation that we brought in about 2 months ago. Obviously, we've had the Spanish program between 2 and 4, which we still have on other frequencies. But the idea of bringing my show forward between 2 and 6 was to have English continuity throughout the entire day. And it's driven really by the music, by entertainment, some light chat, competitions, getting people involved in the radio is really the essence of what we try and do. Try and get callers on, try and use Facebook and Twitter to have interaction with callers and make them feel that they're part of what they're listening to. And yeah, it's good fun.
Fun it may be, but is there anyone listening? Anybody out there?
There's no way of knowing at the moment how many people are listening at any one time. But there are always clues to what the audience is like on that given day. I mean, there are some features that we have where the response online, on email, on Facebook is, goes through the roof, literally. Other days where it's a bit more quiet. You might have more listeners, but the interaction isn't quite, maybe the subject isn't quite as engaging as it is on other days. And I don't know. For me personally, I feel like more people are listening, the more people want to get in touch with me. But that isn't always reflected in how many people are in their car or how many people are at work and don't communicate back. But what really gives me the feeling that people are listening is when they decide to call or email or use, social media.
So how is the afternoon show structured? Can loyal listeners expect regular features on the show?
I've got a few staple features that run every day. One is it's called the 3 at 3, where we have I play 3 songs in a row, and there's a connection. It could be between the artist. I think we had one yesterday where all the singers were Canadian. One the previous day where there's like religious words in all of the song titles. Today we've done one where it's the year. You're looking for the common year between all the songs that you hear. And that goes down quite well because people like music and they can always take part online, so they don't have to call in. They can be sat at their computer at work and they can still get involved without the boss knowing about it, which is good fun. That works really well. And we have another one which also involves a prize at the end of the week called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which I'd best describe as, it's a quiz essentially. They have to name 5 items in one category, 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, and complete the list as quickly as they can. And the quickest time at the end of the week wins our special voucher, which is normally a big one, like 50 or 100 pounds for a restaurant. And people enjoy that. People do, they take part because they enjoy it, but the carrot is dangling on the stick. They want to win a voucher for a restaurant or a hairdresser. Could be anything really. And it is that kind of catalyst for more involvement. We had a competition a week ago where we gave away a £200 voucher for a local store, and the response was higher than anything we've had in recent years. So people do go for the quality of the prize. I like to tell stories about myself on the radio. That not in any self-indulgent way, but purely because I think it's a way of connecting with the listener to make observations about things that you've seen that other people are seeing on their walk to work, and there's that very human element to it. And in telling those stories, you kind of gauge how loyal people are when they remind you of a story that you told 2, 3, 4 years ago that I've forgotten about now. But they'll say, "Oh, Paul, do you remember the time when you found your phone in the fridge?" Well, I've forgotten, but they remember from 2 years ago that little story that I told. And that's how you can gauge whether people have stuck with you down the years,
In so much as you can trust someone who leaves their phone in the fridge, is the music Paul plays an acceptable offering?
The music is good. I'm happy. I think, there's a lot of stuff there that I wouldn't listen to at home, but we only have one local station, and you have to try and tick as many boxes as you can. And the playlist at the moment, for the wide audience that we're trying to please, I think is what it has to be. We have a good array of specialist shows, Jazztown, and Richard does, the program with the older music on a Friday night. But I think that, for mainstream radio, for easy listening and inoffensive music, I think we do a fairly good job, in my opinion. Yeah.
So where does Paul seek inspiration for his program ideas? Other stations, perhaps?
Well, I listen to a lot of internet radio from the UK. You've got to be careful with what you take from internet radio and stations abroad, because not everything they do is going to fit your show and your audience. But I try and learn from other stations around the world, especially in England, and try and fit them in here, maybe adapt them slightly to fit the local audience. But yeah, the content is my own. I consult my managers, and they give me the green light or not. But what's on the show now is kind of my own. They're my own ideas, my own incentives, and it's in a word, it's tremendous fun. Kelly Clarkson and Stronger on Radio Gibraltar, loving Life on the Rock. Right, I need somebody to come forward on 54321. We are going live with that in 10 minutes. And somebody today is going to win themselves £40 at the landings at Queensway Quay. The quickest time this week will win £40 at the landings, and it could be you. If you call me now, the first person through on the phone line will be live on 54321 in 10 minutes from now. So get dialing 200 66200. The weather, a bit levantary. Fairly cloudy in town, but sunny elsewhere. Windy as well, in lows later of 13 degrees, 16 at the moment. Great songs round the corner as well. Listen out for Paloma Faith.
Strange listening to radio without the music, but that is studio life for people like Paul.
10p each.
Also, constantly one step ahead with his links and chat.
Right.
Is this what attracts him to radio?
Radio, for me, it's a compulsion, really. It's a hobby. I just enjoy doing it, I think. I like it's going to sound very cliche, but it's true. The reason why DJs tell you this is because I think, by and large, it's true. It's much more real than television. I find TV which is good fun, but it's more contrived. Radio is, I'm calling somebody at home while they've got the stove on, or they're listening in the car on the way to school, on the way to work, and it's very here and now. It's very real, I think, and I feed off that. With the radio, people listen to you. I'm on air 4 hours a day, so people think they know me. In many ways they do. I do bare my soul quite often on the radio. I try to be me, and tell stories about my life, and I mention, my girlfriend or my mum or whatever. So people get the impression, based on what I give them, what I choose to give them, about what I'm like and what I do in my spare time. So people they have a vision of who I am, and they feel that they know me. But you can't cross the boundary between them thinking they know you and you being overly familiar. There has to still be that buffer between DJ and listener. If they take to you in that way, then clearly you're doing something right, because you're part of their day, and they'll actually make an effort to switch you on, which is an honour. You've got to view it as an honour. Great songs round the corner as well. Listen out for Paloma Faith, Maroon 5, Vance Joy, and the new single from KTB.
So what is it about this strangely distant way of communicating that also brings the presenter and listener's relationship to an almost personal level?
When you're on the radio, you feel like you're taking part in somebody else's day. You're tapping into their world, their life, their routine, and you have a part to play in their life, and it's very gratifying.
Join me next week for another inside story from your local station.